Welcome to the Disneyland with Kids podcast, where we help you plan vacations in 30 minutes or less. That is right. We are spilling some of our best, tried and true tips to make your vacation as magical as possible. Don't miss a single episode. Be sure to hit subscribe on Apple, Google Podcast, or your favorite podcast service. Welcome. On this episode of the Disneyland with Kids podcast, we are going to be talking about taking teenagers to Disneyland. I'm Julie from Mom Rewritten.
And I'm Jessica from the happiest blog on earth.
Everyone knows that Disneyland is a magical and well-loved theme park for all ages. All ages, is that really true? What about the ever hard-to-please teenager? Is there anything at Disneyland that teens will actually enjoy? Today, we're going to be sharing the specific tips that parents with teenagers really need to know. Jessica and I both have teenagers. In addition to my 4-year-old daughter and 8-year-old son, I also have two 16-year-olds at home. How old are your kids, Jessica?
We have a 16-year-old as well, and then 13 and a 10-year-old. So we've just kind of got them all over, just like you guys.
So my kids have been going to Disneyland since they were babies. We've literally raised them in the Disney parks, and even as teens, they still love going. But for many families who are longtime guests, your teenagers may continue to enjoy Disneyland because of the nostalgia and the memories made there. In fact, I asked my son Ian, who is 16, what his favorite part is about going to Disneyland now as a teenager, and I'll quote him. He said, "I like seeing the reactions of my brother and sister doing the things I did when I was little." So isn't that sweet?
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's so sweet. Definitely not the reaction I was expecting from a 16-year-old. But Jessica, why do your teenagers still love Disneyland?
Yeah, well, you sent me that question earlier, so I was able to ask them too. And my oldest, who's 16, she said that she loves the family time because it's one place that we're all just focused on being together and riding rides together, having fun together, talking, and just really getting that family dynamic back in one place. So I thought that was really sweet too. Again,
Yeah.
like not something that I imagined, but that's really why I do it as a parent too. That we just get this uninterrupted time together. And then my son, who's 13, said he does it for the tickly tummies. And I'm like, no, really? What do you mean? He's like, the tickly tummies. I love all the thrill rides. I love that feeling in my tummy. And I love that too.
Those are great reactions. I love that. So what about teenagers who have never been to Disneyland before? Some kids might have it in their head that Disneyland is purely just for little kids. So Jessica, what are the selling points that parents could highlight to their teens about going on a family vacation to Disneyland?
Yeah, a lot of times we see all those little kid things that are so iconic, and it just feels like maybe teens are getting left out. But at Disneyland Resort, that is not the case. Most notably, Disneyland has just expanded to include Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which my kids have grown up on Star Wars from their dad being such a big fan. And there's a lot of things in each of these franchises that we'll talk about too. But we also have Pixar Pier. Pixar is a big part of our teenagers' lives. I mean, those are the movies that they grew up with. And then we will soon have an entire land theme to Marvel. And that's going to be Avengers Campus at California Adventure Park. And then, of course, there's still those classic things like Mickey Mouse that make you feel like a kid again. So there's just so much to do between the parks and downtown Disney and just lots of things that teenagers will actually enjoy and enjoy with the whole family.
And I think Avengers Campus is going to be a big draw for
Mhm.
teenagers. I think that's going to be something that you could use as leverage for teenagers to come with you on your vacation.
Yeah, and you might need that, so we're gonna give you some of those more in depth as well.
So, talk to us a little bit about what teenagers can do without parents, because I know for my teenagers, being able to just kind of go and explore on their own in places is important, but to do it in a safe place. So, can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, that's a major selling point, especially if you're going with, like, a large group or maybe, grandparents and cousins and things like that, where you know that your teens are gonna have a lot more fun doing the thrill rides and doing things that really speak to them. And so I think Disneyland Resort is a place that you can actually let that happen. Of course, you want to have that family time and have some basics in place, but this is a really great place for them to explore on their own, especially if you go often. But there's a few things that everyone needs to know beforehand. So, when you're talking about going to the theme park alone or something like that, everybody must be 14 years or older to enter the theme parks alone, like totally alone. Like if you're just dropping them off for the day if you live nearby. And then it's also important to know that every guest goes through security when they arrive. So, to prep your teens for that, if they're going on their own, of course, there are things that are prohibited, like toy weapons, even, but you can bring lightsabers. And that anyone age 14 or over can't wear costumes unless you're going to the Halloween party, Oogie Boogie Bash. So even if you're going to like Galaxy's Edge and you're building a lightsaber, you can't completely dress up as a Jedi. I mean, there's some ways around that that we can talk about in the Disneyland with Kids group. It's called Disney bounding. And I know, Julie, you've talked about that. But I think that that's an important thing to know that there is more of a cosplay type of thing, but you can't wear like a full on Darth Vader costume or anything like that. And then just your basic courtesy things when letting teens go off on their own, you should make sure to review the rules like no jumping lines or saving places in lines for others. But there's some ways you can kind of legally jump the lines, and just to have common courtesy. Of course, I wouldn't let my kids run around if I didn't think they were prepared for that.
Being able to tour Disneyland and California Adventure without parents is definitely a highlight for my kids. So,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that teenagers should know before they take off on their own?
Yeah, well, they should definitely have the Disneyland app. And that's assuming that they have a device. If they don't have a device, there's going to be some more steps in place. But I don't know. Do you think it's safe to assume they're going to have a device on them, or what do you think?
My older one, my son has a cell phone. His sister does not. But I would assume that they would stick together. But I think a
Yeah,
lot of teenagers do have a device, or at least have them wear a watch so that they know what time it is.
right. And if they don't have a device, it's something where you could split up for maybe like one ride or two rides. But if you're actually letting them go off on their own, they're going to want to have the Disneyland app. And actually, having the Disneyland app on their device is perfect even for family time when you're together. Because let me tell you, if there's something you can't figure out on the app, hand it to your teenager and they will figure it out in 2 seconds. So everyone should have the Disneyland app. And if you're doing Disney Max Pass, which is what I mentioned for skipping the line kind of legally, that is Disney's digital front of the line or skip the line kind of pass. And that's also it in the Disneyland app. So you want to make sure that they have their tickets and their Max Pass all loaded inside the Disneyland app before you separate. That's really important for separating or for dropping off because nobody wants to lose like their paper ticket. And teens with devices are pretty tied to those things. So the chances of losing both are pretty small.
Now, the Disneyland app also has a map in it so that they'll kind of know where they're at in case they're not familiar with the park, which is important when you're establishing a meeting place, right?
Yeah, definitely. And exploring the app before you go is a really great way to get teens involved in your vacation and getting them excited about the vacation. And like I said, they'll show you stuff that you don't know once you get there. And in addition to the Disneyland app, they can also download the Disney Play app, which interacts with different areas in the parks and serves as a good game for wait times and different things that you can do individually or as a family. With those two apps running on your phone, you're going to want to bring a portable charger because Disneyland drains cell batteries like crazy. So you can get those online, you can get them in the parks, but I think everyone should have a charger with them if they are separating from the group.
Yeah, that's a very smart idea. I always use a portable charger and have to bring it extra when I bring my teenagers with me because we drain those batteries fast. So the other thing that you can do on the app is mobile ordering. And mobile ordering is a game changer for me. I love it. And of course, all the amazing food at Disneyland is a major highlight for my teenagers. So, Jessica, can you share with us some of the best places for teenagers to eat at Disneyland?
Wow. Well, mobile ordering, like you said, is a game changer. And there are so many places that accept mobile ordering. And one of the reasons why this is great for teens is because, well, you tell me if it's great as a listener. You can link your credit card to the Disneyland app so that you don't need to necessarily carry cash or your card on you, and you can charge the food right to your Disneyland app. I think that's great because I trust my teens to order what they need and so they can use mobile ordering. But let's talk more about some of the best places to eat. And a couple of these you do need reservations for. So, one of the hot tickets is Oga's Cantina, and that's in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. This is a place that is essentially a bar, a family bar. I've used that term a few times and it's so hilarious to me, a family bar. They have alcoholic and tons of non alcoholic drinks. They serve a teeny bit of snacks in there, but you're more going for the atmosphere. And because it's a Star Wars cantina, so everybody wants to be in there, tons and tons of non alcoholic drinks. They also have lots of non alcoholic drinks at Lamplight Lounge, which is over in California Adventure. And my kids love trying those out. They do some really cool like effects with dry ice and different colors and different textures, even in the drinks. And it's just really interesting and a lot of fun. And as far as quick service locations, you've got the classic Disneyland corn dogs that my kids always request. Those are available on mobile order in certain locations. And other things like burgers, chicken strips, those are kind of some of my kids' favorites. What are your kids usually ordering?
Yeah, my kids they like the corn dogs for sure. We usually hit up the red corn dog cart on Main Street. And then of course there's Starbucks. There's always a Starbucks.
True, true.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those places I don't usually get Starbucks elsewhere, but they if they ask for it at Disneyland, sometimes we do get it.
I know, isn't it funny? This those little things that you allow more so when you're at Disneyland, like maybe double the churros.
Yes, that's right. So now that we've covered the snacks and food, hopefully our teenagers are in a good mood and they're ready for some rides. So I know after a churro or two, my kids are always up for fun. And naturally, the thrill rides are what teenagers are going to be most attracted to. So, Jessica, give us an outline of what are the must do rides with teens.
Yeah, the great thing about the thrill rides is those are the ones that are tied to Disney Max Pass. So that means they can get on more of these rides with that little Disney Max Pass upgrade. You can also ride these just in the regular line, but I'm going to go through just a quick outline of those favorite thrill rides. We have Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Space Mountain, Indiana Jones Adventure, Matterhorn Bobsleds, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Rise of the Resistance, Splash Mountain, Star Tours, and then we move over to California Adventure. You've got Goofy's Sky School, Grizzly River Run, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, Incredicoaster, Radiator Springs Racers. Those are the main thrill rides. I think you can maybe consider Soarin' a thrill ride too, but a lot of rides geared toward teens.
Other than the rides, are there any attractions that are going to be appealing to teenagers?
Yeah, there are some other ones that aren't exactly thrill rides. So, for example, Autopia, where you drive your own car. So, depending on what age your teen is, if driving your own car is still cool, there's that. And then Pirates of the Caribbean, total classic, and Haunted Mansion. Not a thrill ride, but spooky enough, just fun enough that everybody wants to go for a Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, and as we know, Disneyland is so much more than just the rides. I mean, we've talked about the food and just kind of the atmosphere of things. There's shows and entertainment. So what are some of those other things that teenagers could look forward to?
Well, I don't know about your teens, but my oldest teen tends to want to take a lot of pictures at Disneyland. I don't know, maybe she gets it from her mom, but there's a lot of great spots to take photographs all around Disneyland Resort. I think at one time it was like the most Instagram place in the world. And you're going to get photos downloaded for free with Disney Max Pass. So if any of the photographers take your photo, you can download those for free. And then you also get your ride photos with Disney Max Pass. So getting those perfect photo ops in front of the castle and building a lightsaber or a droid in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. We're even going to have like a similar thing in Avengers Campus for building what is called a spider bot. And this is like a new creature. So we've explored that a little bit in our episode about Avengers Campus. But those are some kind of hands-on things. Some people do pin trading throughout the parks. And then when it gets to nighttime, because you know our teenagers love to stay up late, you can look forward to fireworks for just a beautiful magical ending. And then, of course, the night shows like Phantasmic and World of Color over at California Adventure.
Yeah, and the late show viewings are always less crowded. So if you're set on watching shows with your teens, just choose that showtime that's later in the night. I always know that when I bring my teens, we'll be able to stay until the park closes. And we even watched a midnight showing of the Main Street Electrical Parade during its final run, which was awesome because that's not something you can really do with, toddlers and youngsters that are falling asleep in their stroller.
Yeah, that's way cool. And like you said, because sometimes there's two showings or maybe even three of certain things. And the later you go, the better view you're going to get, anyways.
So let's shift our focus outside the parks and talk a little bit about what there is to do in downtown Disney. Can you share with us some of the top places to take teens in this outdoor shopping district?
Yeah, so the shopping district is kind of in the middle of the parks. And that's how you navigate. A lot of times when you're parking, you might walk through downtown Disney or you might just catch like the very edge of it when you're passing in between the parks. But there's a lot of shopping. So again, if your teen is into shopping, that's the place they're going to want to shop. You have a huge World of Disney store, which has all your Disney merchandise. And then they have other stores similar to probably your higher end malls. They have things like makeup shops, bath and body type of shops. They have clothing stores, shoe stores. So pretty much whatever you need, you can find it there. But they also have some entertainments at night, especially on the weekends. So we're talking like live music, live performers. But a staple there for me is Splitsville. And that is an upscale bowling alley. I mean, I had never heard of like an upscale bowling alley till Splitsville came. They have dining, but this isn't like your typical bowling alley food. They have some really great food and, of course, the bowling. So you could do one or the other, or you could do both. And then another favorite is the Crazy Shakes at Black Tap. Have you had those yet?
Yes, last summer I took my teenagers to Disneyland for a few days, and my son said the giant crazy shake was his favorite part of the entire trip. He just couldn't even believe that I bought one for him. He was so over the moon.
Oh my gosh. And you guys that are listening, if you haven't seen the crazy shakes, look that up. It's a shake, but some of them have like a whole slice of cake on top or like an entire huge spiral lollipop and like taffy and candy and just like it's just over the top. So anything that just really indulgent, the kids will love.
Yeah, they are definitely crazy. And they have a to go counter. So you don't have to go inside and dine. You can get the shakes from outside just as a walk up window.
Yeah, that's really perfect because they also sell just a regular food like burgers, fries, all those kind of things. But if you just want the crazy shake, you won't miss that pickup window for crazy shakes.
Now, we can't miss talking about the Disneyland Resort hotels. So, what are the specific things teenagers will enjoy doing back at the hotel?
Yeah, I think this is an important factor of planning a trip with a teenager. You want to pick a hotel that they're really going to enjoy for some downtime. And that includes places that have the best pools, really, for me. The Disney resort hotels definitely rank high up there with the pools. We always love the slides at the Disneyland Hotel, and the ambiance of the Grand Californian pool area is gorgeous, especially now with the Craftsman Bar and Grill right outside by the pool.
Yeah, for sure. My teenagers love spending a free day when we go to Disneyland just to swim, to lounge by the pool, to eat snacks, and of course, to take a nap.
Oh, yes. It's funny because even when your kids get older, when you're at Disneyland, you can often talk them into taking a nap because that means that you can stay out later, especially with like younger kids with you, right? I'm like, we got to take a nap so that your little sister can stay up late.
Yeah, my teenagers really never complain about having to just go and relax, lay on the bed, watch a little TV, and just chill for a little bit in the afternoon so that little sister can take a nap and then everybody's happy and refreshed and we go back to the parks and usually eat dinner and it's a great day.
Yeah, we love doing that too. It's funny, there's just like this odd point in kids growing up where this one section they will fight a nap and they will not want to do a nap or they think they're too old and they don't want to be a baby, you know? But then once you hit this sweet spot and you go, "Oh, actually naps are pretty nice. Let's do that."
Yeah, for sure. So before we wrap this up, let's answer our would you rather question, Disneyland edition. So, Jessica, would you rather take a teething baby or a moody teenager to Disneyland?
Oh my goodness. I would definitely take a moody teenager. And for some of the reasons that we talked about because I can be like, "Okay, you want to have an attitude? Go on your way. I'll meet you later."
Yeah, I think I kind of have to agree with that. I think with a baby, you're just kind of stuck with them. But the teenager, you can load up the Disney gift card and send them on their way. Go have a few snacks and come back and have a better attitude.
Yeah, no worries. Mom could chill. I'm like, "I'll get myself some popcorn. You go on the ride. I'll be here when you're done."
Absolutely. So that's it for us today, and we thank you so much for joining us. You've been listening to Jessica and Julie chatting about taking teenagers to the Disneyland Resort.